Welcome to the Board Game Network. Today I will be explaining how to play this game called Leaders of Euphoria. This is a special treat for me and for you. This game is just now showing up on Kickstarter, and I want to tell you how to play this game. You're starting out with two teams. You got the Subterran and the Euphorian teams, and so there's one leader for each. The blue card with a female is the Subterran leader. The red card with a male leader is the Euphorian. And then there's also followers, and the blue team has men followers and the red team has women followers. So you follow the color, is what you do, and then it also says down here which team those players are on. So what you do to start the game is you just take the two leaders, start those, and this game plays 4 to 8 players. So you want to remove cards that are more players than what you have. So it's the number of cards in the deck is for 8 players. So this one says 7 plus. So you would remove this card if you don't have at least 7 players, and then go throughout and remove all the extra cards. And then also the guns. This gun says 5 plus, and this one says 7 plus. So make sure you remove guns if you don't have that many players. So you're going to shuffle this deck that has the two teams in it. And then you're going to take the number of players and subtract 2. So let's say I've got 8 players. I'm going to deal 6 cards on top of the 2 leaders. So I have 8 cards total. I'm going to mix these up, and then I'm going to deal them out. So 2 players are going to have a leader. So once you're done dealing those out, then you take your deck and you deal out 2 more recruits, like so. And so these are your team. What's happened is the brain microchips have ceased functioning in your brain. You are no longer connected to the org. You survived with 3 recruits. These 3 recruits are the 3 on your team. Euphoria needs a leader, and Euphorians are brainwashing survivors. The Subterranes are emerging from the tunnels. You must be loyal to your faction. A leader must be crowned. Will you choose a better oppressor? So that's the setup to this game, and let's just get right into it. You are also given 2 artifacts. That's the purple backed card. You're going to shuffle those, deal those out. You are given a reference card, which you're going to turn to the blue side, which is the Euphorian Subterran side. The first player, the player who's been most recently shot, is going to take the interrogator token, and that's the first player. And to determine what team you're on, you look at your 3 recruits. Okay? If you have a leader, then you are on the leader's team. If you do not have a leader, then whichever team you have the most of, whichever recruits you have the most of, that's the team you're on. So in this case, I've got 2 Euphorians and 1 Subterran, so I'm on the Euphorian team. But I do not show those to anybody. They stay face down. You can put them down in any order you want after you look at them, but once you've done that, you cannot change the order. Your goal is to shoot the opposing team's leader. And if you are shot and you do not have a leader, you become a Wastelander, so a 3rd team shows up besides the 2 teams. You cannot show your recruits to anybody, but you can discuss them So it's maybe some bluffing going on in there. You don't have to tell the truth. You could say I'm on this team or I'm on that team, but you cannot show a card to verify that. And then this reference card here shows you the things you can do. With your artifact, you can do one of these two things. So you've got your two artifacts in your hand to start. You can discard all artifacts that you have and draw one artifact. So when you discard artifacts, they go to the bottom of the deck. Draw a new one. You don't like those two, or if you don't have any, then you can discard your 0 and draw one. The other option you can do is you can give one of your artifacts to another player. So that's phase 1 of the turn. Phase 2 is take an action. So you may do one of these things. You can interrogate a recruit, and to interrogate, you simply use your turn to look at one of the face down recruits, doesn't matter which player, and then you don't show it to anybody, you put it back. Your second option for taking an action is to use an artifact. So you have an artifact in your hand, you want to use it. What you have to do is you have to flip over one of your recruits to use the artifact, and the artifact tells you what you can do. So in this case, and you're looking for ones that say action, there are ones that say reaction along the side, ones that say action. Action happens on your turn, reaction happens on somebody else's turn, and the reaction tells you when you can play it. Typically somebody's doing something to you and you want to react to it or something like that. So this one says, this action says, each player holding a ray gun gives it to the player on their left. Players take turns choosing a new target, starting with you and proceeding clockwise. So it tells you what to do, and then you're going to discard that, put it under the deck. Your third option is to arm. And to do that, you expose one of your hidden recruits and you grab a ray gun. They're all identical. You grab a ray gun and you point it at somebody and you say, Bill, I am aiming at you. You can shoot as an action, and when you shoot, you immediately drop your ray gun. Or you can hide an exposed recruit. Hide an exposed follower, excuse me. If you have a leader showing, you cannot hide him. You can only hide followers. So those are all of the actions that are possible. And then you can target. And you have to target. So if you have a gun, you can change the target if you want to. Or if you don't have it targeted, you have to target somebody with your gun. So that's all the options there. And then once you've gone through all three phases there, then you pass the interrogator token to the next player, and then he takes his turn. Now, artifacts, when you play them, you always have to flip a recruit face up, including the reaction cards. You have to flip one face up. You do not have a hand limit for artifacts. You can keep as many as you want. On the ray gun, you're limited to one ray gun per player, and you have to immediately target and announce the player. If you are shot and you have an exposed leader and a leader that's face up, then the game is immediately over and you determine the victory. Otherwise, if somebody shoots a player, they immediately draw an artifact card. Now, if this is a reaction, you cannot play it, but it gives you that artifact. You immediately drop your gun that you shot with, and then the player who you shot has to expose all recruits. They have to turn all of them face up, and any of them that are not leaders go face down. So that's a great way of finding out if somebody has a leader. If there are no leaders, that player that you shot becomes a Wastelander. And they immediately take their reference card and flip it to the Wastelander side, and they are no longer on the Euphorian team or the Subterran team. They are now a Wastelander who has their own rules to follow. And a Wastelander, all they have to do to win, the Wastelander team, is to shoot any exposed leader. Any leader that's face up, you shoot that player, and the Wastelander team wins. If a Wastelander is ever given a leader or somehow acquires a leader, then that Wastelander wins. So it's an individual win, not a team win for the Wastelanders. So the game ends if an exposed leader is shot. And remember, the first time that a player is shot, if that leader is not shown, it flips it face up. But the second time they get shot with the face up leader, that's when the game ends. If the Wastelander is given, if any Wastelander is given a leader, that ends the game. And the third way the game ends is if a player has both leaders. And they do not have to be exposed. They can be or they don't have to be, but if they have them, even if they have them face down, they flip them both face up and they win the game. So that's how you play Leaders of Euphoria, and we will include a link in our description on where the Kickstarter's at, and if this is past that period of time, then you will probably be able to order this through your local game store. Make sure you tune into all of our videos here at the Board Game Network.